Okay, I'm hoping that this will work now that I've already hit record.
Yeah, because they can have it really.
Okay, it is already recording, so hopefully it'll stay. I don't know what was going on with it, but anyways, okay, so the lesson today is still on elimination, but there is going to be a little bit of something extra. Remember yesterday when we were trying to eliminate variables, if we added the x's or the y's together, they equaled 0, didn't they? In order for them to eliminate, we had to have like 7x and negative 7x, right? Or negative 7x and positive 7x, or something like that. When you look at example 1 here, if you were to add straight down here, 7x plus 2x is going to be what? 9x. So that's not 0. And what's a negative 4y plus a negative 4y? A negative 8y. And that's not 0 either, is it? So, go ahead and do that real quick. So, you're going to have an extra step here in the beginning because when we add straight down, nothing eliminates right away. Okay? So, what you're going to do is if you were to multiply, it wouldn't matter if it was the top or the bottom equation, but if you were to multiply through by a negative 1, if we multiplied this by negative 1, that would become a positive 4, wouldn't it? And that positive 4 would cancel with that negative 4, wouldn't it? Okay, but with equations, you can't just go and multiply just one of the numbers inside that equation by something. You have to multiply the entire equation by whatever number you want to use. So that's okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to put this in parentheses and you're going to put a negative 1 out front, and we are going to distribute that negative 1 through. But first of all, this top equation is just going to stay the same, right? We're not going to do anything different with that. We're just going to copy it over here, or you can copy it below. It doesn't matter, okay? And then this bottom one, when we distribute the negative 1, a negative 1 times a positive 2x is going to be negative 2x. And a negative 1 times a negative 4y is going to be a positive 4y, which you can see that's good. That's what we wanted to happen, right? But don't forget this other number over here. Negative 1 times negative 5 is a positive 5. Okay, so we're going to add these together. Okay, so adding straight. Now, let me just stop for a minute. That's the only new part right there. At this point, the rest of the problem is exactly what we did yesterday. Okay, so yesterday was the majority of the work. So if you struggled yesterday, then today is should just be helpful to you, okay? If you were out yesterday, the problems that they got yesterday were set up to where they had opposite numbers already there for them, like negative 4 and positive 4, or 7 and negative 7, or 10 and negative 10, or something like that. Okay, so when we add straight down, 7x and negative 2x is going to be what? 5x. Very good. Negative 4y and positive 4y makes 0, doesn't it? So it just cancels out. Bring down your equals. And then 20 plus 5 is what? 25. Okay. Now we just have a little one-step equation here to solve. So we're going to divide by what? 5. By 5 on both sides. Now, according to your grades from your homework last night, you guys should really be able to do pretty good on this. Okay, because this extra little step in the beginning is pretty basic. Okay, all right, so when we do, we get x equals what? 5. So you go and you set up your ordered pair. You know you have to have an x and then a y. That was x that we just figured out. X is 5, so make sure you put that in the correct spot. Then, who remembers what we did after this? After we found either our x or y, what did we do next? Sergio?
You plugged in the x on either equation?
Yeah, we got to take that 5 that we just discovered, and we got to plug it in for x into either of the equations. You got to pick which equation. Okay, so any of those equations. So, Sergio, which one do you want to use?
The top one.
Okay, so I'm going to copy down 7x minus 4y equals 20. And I'm going to take that 5. If x is 5, I'm going to put it in place of my x right there. And I'm going to copy everything else down. And then I'm simply just going to solve that equation, right? So I have to do the multiplication first. 7 times 5 is 35. Bring down the minus 4y equals 20. And then you've got to get rid of that number that you just got. How do you get rid? Now, you know what? I have kids that will add 35. Who can tell me why they want to add 35? Corbin?
Because it doesn't have a sign in front of it.
Maybe they don't see a sign in front, and so they think that they should add. Ashaya?
Because it says subtract -4, and they think that's -35.
Yeah, a lot of times kids see this, and so they want to add 35. Well, if you add 35 to 35, you get 70. It doesn't go away, right? So you got to be careful. That minus sign goes with the 4. So this is a positive 35, right? So we are going to subtract 35 on both sides. Okay? Now, another common mistake is kids that do this. What have they forgotten? That negative comes down. Okay? 20 minus 35 is a negative 15, and you are allowed to be using calculators. Okay? So if you don't have one, as long as you do it quietly, you're welcome to get up and go get one. Last step here. Divide by what?
4.
By -4. It's going to be a decimal, but that's okay. What is it?
-3.75.
Well, we got a negative divided by negative, so it should be positive. 3.75, you say? Okay, so don't forget to come up here to your ordered pair and put that answer up here in your ordered pair. So the solution to that system is 5, 3.75. When x is 5 and y is 3.75, then both of those equations balance. I know that's a lot of work, but almost all of that is work that we did yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at number 2. What's 3x plus 5x? 8x. What's -4 plus 2? -2. So neither of those made 0. So what if I said it doesn't have to be a -1? What if I said you can multiply either one of those equations by any number that you want so that you do get opposite x coefficients or opposite y coefficients? So look at that and see, well, I could do this and then that would get it the way I want it. Hannah, what do you think?
Multiply the +2 by +2 to get a +4.
Hannah says if we take this 2 and we multiply by 2, I'll get a +4. And if I have a +4 and a -4, I'll be set. Well, you're right. If we want to multiply this by 2, we have to multiply that entire equation by 2, right? So put that entire equation in parentheses and put a 2 out front. Now what about this top equation? It stays the same. So just copy it down. And then the bottom equation, what's 2 times 5x?
2x.
What's 2 times 2y?
4y.
Positive 4y, good. And 2 times 11?
22.
Now, I've been teaching for quite some time now, and a very common mistake is kids who they know they'll multiply by 2, but this is what they do. I hope you're paying attention. They'll do 2 times 5x, and they'll do 2 times 2y, but then they'll write equals 11. The whole rest of the problem is wrong. You have to distribute that 2 all the way through the equation, including to that 11 over there. Okay? All right, so here we go now. Now we can add these together. 3x and 10x is 13x. -4y and +4y, 0. 17 and 22.
39.
Okay, what do I do now? Divide by what? 13. So Corbin, x equals 3. Good. So we need to set up our parentheses. We put our x and then our y, and that 3 goes under the x. So now we need to figure our y out. How do we figure out our y?
Plug in the x.
We pick an equation and plug in 3. Doesn't matter which equation you pick. Certainly not. CJ, what equation do you want to use? The top equation. Okay, so 3x minus 4y equals 17. All I did is I just copied it down. I didn't do any work yet. Then, if I know x is 3 right here, I'm going to put that in place of the x. Don't go put it in for the y. If x is 3, put 3 in for the x. Copy everything else down. Do your multiplication first. 3 times 3. Get rid of that 9. How?
By
Subtracting.
Good. Bring down your negative 4y equals 8. 17 minus 9 is 8. Divide by, and you get what? Negative 2. So don't forget to come up here and put that as your answer. All right. Not so bad, right? You guys can do this. That extra little step in the beginning is nothing. You got this. All right, look at number 3. See if you can figure out what we got to do here to get this to what we want it to be. And don't shout it out. Raise your hand if you think you can help us out here. Ashaya.
Times 5 on the second.
Yeah, times the bottom by 5. Because if we do that, we're going to get a negative 10 here, aren't we? And then we have the positive 10 up here. So that's what we want. Okay? Now, I don't have a lot of room out there to the side, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy down this top equation. The equations don't have to be in order, by the way. You could put the second one first. It doesn't matter. What's 5 times negative 2x?
Huh?
Negative 10x. I just copied down the first equation. And then now I'm distributing. 5 times 5y.
25. What?
And 5 times 11. Okay, now let's add straight down. 10x and negative 10x, 0. Negative 7 plus 25.
32.
Now it's a negative 7 and a positive 25.
Oh.
Good, 18y. Negative 1 and positive 55.
negative
54.
Okay, divide by,
18 equals 3.
y equals 3. You okay over there? In the front? Are y'all okay?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Next, now pick an equation.
The top.
The top one? Okay. So we have 10x minus 7y equals negative 1. And y is 3. So make sure you go under the y and put the 3. Copy everything else down. Do that multiplication first. So we end up with 10x minus 21 equals negative 1.
Add 21.
Good. Get rid of that minus 21 by adding 21. So we end up with 10x equals 20. And
Divide by 10.
very good, Sergio. So what's x? Very good. Very good. Good, good. We're almost done. Question? River? You have a question?
Oh yeah.
You figure out where you went wrong?
I just thought the X was with the 21. Like I thought it was 21. I kept 10.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you still need this, River, or you got it?
I see.
Hey, what do you guys think about this one? What do you think?
Negative 3.
Wow.
No, yeah, what he said.
Tess.
Multiply it by
Multiply what?
the bottom.
Very good. Multiply the bottom by a negative 2. Listen, if you multiplied by a positive 2, you'd end up with 6x. And 6x plus 6x is 12x, not 0, right?
Yes.
One of them's got to be negative, okay? So leave this one alone. 6x plus 4y equals 30. Then multiply negative 2 times 3x is what?
6x.
Negative 6x. Then what?
Negative Negative 4y.
equals,
Negative 12.
okay. So 6x plus negative 6x. 4y plus negative 4y. So what's left on that side there? Nothing. So 0. And 30 plus a negative 12. 18. Is 0 equal to 18? No. Go back to, if you think back to your notes from, look here. The options are ordered pair, no solution, or IMS. What do you think? 0 is not equal to 18. So right, this is a no solution problem. If the x's and the y's both eliminate, and you have two different numbers that don't equal each other, it's no solution. If it's the same number on both sides, that would be what? IMS, yeah. Okay, last one here. What do you suppose? Raise your hand if you see what we need to do. Bella, do you need me to pull number 4 back down? Okay.
I do.
You do? Okay.
Why is not that one? No. Yeah. Why is that no solution?
Okay, because see how the x's and the y's both completely eliminated and we didn't have an x or a y left? And when we did, we ended up with 0 on that side, but then on this side right here, 30 and negative 12 was 18, and 0 is not equal to 18. So if you get something that's not true, that means it's no solution.
Was 0 equals 0, it'd be many solutions?
Uh-huh, exactly. Very good. Okay, so on number 5, what do you guys suppose that we should do here?
Multiply.
Negative 2.
The bottom one by negative 2. Okay, so leave the top one alone. The bottom one becomes what? Negative 4x. Then what? Yeah, that's a negative 2 times a negative 5, which is a positive 10y. And negative 2 times 6, negative 12. What? What happens here? They're all opposites. So we end up with 0 equal to 0, which is?
Yeah.
Okay. Good job.